Thank you for your support as we continue to fight for BC's public education system and our students. I know it's been a summer of uncertainty and there's much to do in the days ahead, but I'm still hopeful we can reach a negotiated settlement so that we can get back to what we want to be doing, what we love to be doing, and that's teaching. But make no mistake, it's going to take more hard work. We have to stay strong and collectively push back against the government that would rather pay babysitters $40 per child per day than work to get a deal. In the spring, as I traveled from picket line to picket line, I met many teachers who told me about their daily struggles in the classroom after 12 years of government cuts. One teacher told me about her grade 6-7 class with 30 students. 5 of those children who had individual education plans with learning challenges ranging from autism to obsessive compulsive disorder to severe behavioral disorders. This teacher was sure that several more of her students needed diagnostic assessments, but they never received them because of the long waiting list and the lack of specialist teachers. Her assessment is that these students are now below grade level because they have not received the extra support that they should be receiving if we would have had a well-public education system. Heard from another teacher in Vancouver who had a class of 25. 9 of her students had designated special needs. 4 students were in foster care. 5 of those children had fetal alcohol syndrome. 2 students had autism, and 3 were waiting for diagnostic assessments. Of the 25 students, 7 were also English language learners. And both of these teachers said that every single one of these children is smart, is kind, and ready to learn. But they're not getting the support or the one-on-one time they need. Those kids deserve so much more. All of our students deserve more. What this struggle is about. Your hard work, your endless support and commitment are not always enough. All of us are doing our utmost best in an underfunded, under-resourced system to teach our students. The reason why our public education system continues to be so strong is because of the work of all of you, because it's who we are as teachers. Now, after 12 long years, it's time for government begin doing its part. And that's why we continue to take this stand. That's why we walk picket lines. We cannot allow these conditions to continue year after year. We need the smaller classes, the more support for children with special needs, and more specialist teachers now. We need this government and Premier Christy Clark to wake up and abandon their ideological attack on teachers and public education. 12 years of picking fights, cutting services, and unconstitutional legislation must end. Throughout this struggle, you've all shown such remarkable grace, resilience, and commitment. And you know, it hasn't been easy. I know. As teachers, we do not take job action lightly, because we care so deeply about our schools, our students, and their families. We know how anxious parents feel when their children's needs cannot be met at school. We took this step only because it was absolutely necessary. I know many of you on the line have heard from parents directly that they appreciate the stand that we are taking for their kids. They know that we're fighting for the future of public education and our ability to do our work and support all learners. That support and understanding coming from parents is because of you and the work that you do. You're talking to each other, your friends, your families. You've taken to Twitter, blogs, Facebook in an unprecedented way, unprecedented numbers, telling your stories, and that's so key. By speaking out, you've changed the way that mainstream media talk about our issues. They know what class composition is now and why it matters. They cannot report on a strike without mentioning the need to improve learning conditions. The odd time they miss it, hundreds of you descend on them online. That's so cool. More than ever, parents, all British Columbians, understand that the system is underfunded and students are not getting the support they need. They know that BC funds education $1,000 less than the national average, and they're not okay with it. They know it's time for change. We're asking for smaller class sizes, classes, more one-on-one time with our students, extra help for those who need it, and more specialist teachers to enhance every student's educational experience. Yes, it will cost more to do that, to make our education system better and reverse 12 years of cuts. But we think it's an important investment to make, just as important as LNG is to this government. This government would rather settle a court case and give California Power, a private power company, $750 million. And Minister Bennett says, that's a good deal for British Columbians. Shame. But refuses to put $225 million back into our classrooms. They need to get their priorities straight. And because of your advocacy online and on the lines, parents agree. Colleagues, let me assure you that I've been in regular contact with BCPC's lead negotiator throughout the summer. Peter Cameron and I had many discussions about how to move forward. The holdouts has been government and their unwillingness to enter full-scale mediation and compromise. That's not the 24/7 bargaining that Peter Fassbender keeps repeating on his media tours. And one day, the real truth will come out on that one. His efforts this week to undermine the media blackout and his government's $40 a day bribe has been incredibly unhelpful. And I hope the minister will back off the media circuit and allow his side to enter mediation with Vince ready. We're ready to negotiate anytime. We've been ready all summer. We've been ready all this past week despite being here in Kamloops. My message to the minister today and his rhetoric of 24/7 bargaining is let's see it. How about tomorrow? Let's get this deal done. Over the next 2 weeks, we will keep working hard to get that fair negotiated settlement we all know is within reach with a little compromise. We're willing to compromise, and government must too. There are more moves to make, but it must be in mediation with the government that is willing to reciprocate. And that's where and why we need to increase the pressure once again. We need to target those Liberal MLAs who are uncomfortable with how their government has been sitting on their hands. Ask them why their government is not negotiating and get them questioning the spin coming from the minister and the premier. They need to understand that we are strong and proud union members, and we will continue to fight for our rights, the rights of our students, and the future of BC's public education system. As teachers, professionals, citizens, proud union members, we must continue to stand strong against the government determined to ignore BC Supreme Court rulings and force more cuts that would impact our students' learning conditions. Next week, pickets will be up in full force across this province. We've asked our locals to ramp up the pressure on school boards and local MLAs. Let's continue to move forward with our collective strength and our solidarity to get a fair deal for teachers and better supports for our